Midoriya is the best hero in his world, and that's a fact. Endeavor relied on him to help against All for One, and he's been coming in clutch recently in the manga, and is the pillar of society of the world of MHA. But that statement, you might have noticed, I said his world, the world of My Hero Academia. What would happen if we took him over to other worlds? Now, previously, I had him face off against the entire Akatsuki. However, today, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to see how high he would rank in the S-Class heroes from One Punch Man. Now, obviously, the main component is the power. That is the primary factor when determining how far he would rank in these categories compared to the other heroes. So now that I've piqued everyone's interest, let's celebrate My Hero Academia coming back with Izuku Midoriya comparing to every S-Class hero. Alright, one very important thing is that the S-Class heroes are not equal, and they have a pecking order. And now we're going to get into the weaker ones and build our way up, starting with the weakest S-Class hero, that is Zombie Man, who is slightly above a normal human and most likely has faster than light reaction time, but not travel time. And on top of that, he has weapons capable of dealing with dragon level threats, which, to put into perspective, are considered threats to entire cities and should scale above Genos at the beginning of the series, who is able to produce a force similar to 474 tons of TNT. To put into perspective, that is city block level. Alrighty, after that, we have stronger heroes, which are Pig God, Pretty Prisoner, Tank Top Master, and Watchdog Man. These characters are considered on par with early Season 2 Genos, who is able to dodge a light-based attack and should at least be on par with most dragon-level threats, including Vaccine Man, who is capable of producing a massive crater. Now, thanks to Versus Battle Wiki, we have discovered that to create such a hole in the earth, you would need to produce around 86.963 megatons of TNT, or a city-level attack. And for reference, that is in the same range as the most powerful weapon to ever be detonated on our planet, called the Tsar Bomb, which had a yield of 57 megatons of TNT. Jumping up to the upper half, now we have Drive Knight, Child Emperor, Super Alloy Darkshine, Atomic Samurai Flashy Flash, and finally, Metal Knight. All of these characters should scale to the meteor that was originally going to destroy City Z. Now, while we do know that Metal Knight failed in the original chapter to destroy said meteor, he has developed superior weaponry since then, and all characters should be on par, meaning they should be able to produce around 865.9 gigatons of TNT, or large island level. But with their AP out of the way, now we can determine their speed, and looking at Atomic Samurai being able to casually, keep in mind casually, intercept a laser produced by G5S, that clocks in at around 4.1 times the speed of light. Now that the others have been discussed, it's time to talk about the top 5. The 5 strongest, right? Those are Metal Bat, Bang, Genos, Tatsumaki, and then finally, Blast. I'm going to start this off right now with Bang. Bang scales to Garo. This Garo one-shot Fear Ugly and fought against Platinum S. This means that we have to take into account that Garo and Platinum made that constellation. And while Bang doesn't fully scale to them, he is relatively close in the speed category, being able to keep up with them of a notable fight. Since Garo one-shot Fear Ugly, this should mean that Bang is in a notable category higher, meaning that he most likely should have an attack potency in the small country to regular country size range, which is very impressive for a man of his age. Next, moving on to Metal Bat. Metal Bat scales to Sage Centipede, who has the best feat of his 6,666 leg drill, which was calculated to have 2.4 petatons of TNT, or a continent level attack. On top of that, he should scale to Garo's speed-wise, and like I stated prior, was able to create a constellation with the help of Platinum S. This calculation came out to around 4.3 times the speed of light. However, after him, we have the Demon Cyborg, Genos. Genos is his own monster. His normal form is not that notable, however, he does get remarkably powerful in his 10 seconds last resort mode, which was able to contend with Psycho Sorochi. Now, to put this into perspective, how strong Psycho Sorochi is, she was able to use a beam which cut off a substantial part of the Earth, and this was calculated to around 18.28 exatons of TNT, or a multi-continental plus attack. Now, I know that crazy feat sounds like I'm downscaling it, however, it is important to note that is half the power required to destroy the moon. So it's safe to say that he lives up to his name of being a Demon Cyborg. However, it is important to recognize that even a Demon Cyborg can be destroyed, like he was in the manga. However, this is where we, oddly enough, get his best speed feat, which is his power core, being able to perceive the fight between Saitama and Garo, and now highballing this. The best feat in that matchup was Saitama blitzing said character, resulting in around 617 times faster than light, which is incredibly fast. Now, moving on to Tatsumaki. Tatsumaki is the second strongest member of the S-Class, and that is for a very good reason. With her psychic ability, she was able to demolish Psycho Sorochi, and while I did previously state that Psychos had a multi-continental feat, it is important to realize that Tatsumaki was stated to be holding back and extremely fatigued when she demolished Psycho Sorochi. To most people, and for most people, highballing it, this would get her to around moon level, possibly even planetary, depending on how great you would like to say the difference between the two combatants is. On top of that, she was able to keep pace with Genos, putting her in a comfortable, massively faster than light travel speed. But what can you expect from the person literally called the second best weapon? But even she is second to the best. She is not number one. So let's move on to our final hero, the hero above all, Blast. Alright, let's start off with the less impressive of his two feats. He perceived the bloodlusted Saitama, and we already stated that puts him at around 617 times the speed of light. So already quite monstrous. But now, we get onto the real part. You want me to talk about this. So, Blast was able to somewhat withstand the Serious Punch squared. He contained a decent chunk of it, and how much in fact? Well, matter of fact, people calced it, and it came around to 488.18 exafold of TNT, or multi-solar system level. Now, I know that was a bit of a jump compared to what we've been talking about all video. It's important to state that a hand that turns against God should have the power to mold his own future. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the one who changed the future of his world. Let's talk about Izuku Midoriya, or, as you know him by his hero name, let's talk about Deku. Alright, I'm gonna get right to it. Midoriya is way stronger than what people give him credit for. How strong? Well, he should be around moon level to small planetary, based on 9 and his storm creation feat, and on multipliers that he has access to, in this case overdrive, which may allow him to go even further beyond. And if you wanted to look, which might even get him to planetary, possibly large planetary. If you want to look into speed, then based on the calculations made by a person I worked with in the past, aka Debunk, you should be able to get Midoriya up to 625 times the speed of light. However, if you scale him to Bakugo, you will have to bump him up even further. Or, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, the little bit I'm talking about, the little bit of a stat buff he gets, is bumping him up to 13,821.5 times the speed of light. Or massively faster than light. That is if we scale him to Bakugo being able to blitz all for one, which I do think is applicable, considering that Midoriya has access to Gear Shift, which increases his speed even further, so it's safe to say that he can hang with these kinds of monsters. And speaking of monsters, he was mistaken for a monster because he had so many abilities. All kinds of quirks. And the stats to back him up. Now that we see where he stacks in his own world, let's see how he scales to everyone else. Hi everyone. It's nice to see you again. I'm genuinely super excited to talk with all of you about this. It's super fun, man. I am so happy that I get to talk about two of my favorite series, and they're just always having a great time. Now, I'm not great at One Punch Man scaling. This is pretty new for me, but I wasn't that great at My Hero scaling prior, and you wanna know who helped me out with that? That's right, his name is Debunk. I am super happy that while he didn't help out with this video in particular, he helped me out with my previous My Hero versus video, Deku versus the Akatsuki, which, man, you guys should check that out. It's awesome. Just like this video, and just like some of my other content. And if my content is awesome, maybe you guys would, I don't know, want to see more of it, which would endorse you to maybe subscribe, and then I don't know, maybe share it with your friends so they can either say it's awesome, or you guys can debate about how wrong I am. You know, the normal good thing. Anyway, yeah. So let's get back to the main event. Let's get back to Midoriya versus the S class. Alrighty, now it's time to see how far Deku goes, and right off, Deku is stronger than every single hero except Blast. He's actually faster than Blast, oddly enough, if you give him Gear Shift. So where do I think he will lie in the rankings? Well, I think he would be number 2, replacing Tatsumaki, or, well, I guess replacing isn't the best word. More moving everyone down one spot. And I hope I have established that he would easily dominate every single hero except for Blast, and this in turn would lead him to becoming almost like a number 1 hero of this world yet again, considering Blast rarely gets involved in anything, meaning that while Deku isn't technically number 1, he is the strongest, and undoubtedly he is the fastest, and he would most likely affect the world in more ways than Blast, even though he would be the number 2 hero. Now, I am aware that battle power is not the only factor in the S class. However, it is important that is honestly the main feature. And also considering the fact that Midoriya is just a really good person, his naturally nice personality, and the fact that he inspires hope into others, most likely means that the media, like in MHA, would at least somewhat have a positive relationship with him, meaning that his popularity would be notably higher than most other heroes who hate people. I'm looking at you, Metal Knight. And then combine that with the fact that he's incredibly strong, he's nice to everyone, and a genuine good person, I have no doubt in my mind that Midoriya would make a phenomenal second place hero. And considering the fact that Blast isn't around, I mean, technically, he would be considered the number 1 hero. But that is just my opinion. if any of you guys would like to break down some of the other factors, obviously strength is the main topic we're all talking about. But if you guys, for example, have a different aspect, like, oh, Midoriya isn't as marketable as Genos or something like that, um, that would be an interesting aspect to look. And I invite you guys to bring up that discussion in the comments, because with how engaging this topic is and the depth of it, I feel can open up a really good area for discussion. So obviously, I want to hear your guys' comments about it. I think it would be really cool. Plus, you know, it helps me out every time you comment. It does person it does personally help this video out and help me grow my channel, which I do always appreciate. Just like I appreciate all of you who subscribed and liked the video. Anywho, I'll I have hope I hope you all have a fantastic day. And guess what? I'm going to see you next time. Peace out.